All right. Well, thank you to everyone being here and for the other presenters' presentations. My name is Heidi Reitmeier, and I'm the one online today. So, but it's good to be back here online to see everybody here that I recognize. So today we'll be talking about just a bit about the Northwest Research and Outreach Center Soils Lab on the Crookston campus up in Crookston, Minnesota, where I work with Dr. Lindsay Pease on our soils research up here. I'll be discussing especially new activity with graduate students, to you guys, and highlighting the ROC and our people up here, as well as our students' work. We've had a lot of happenings, but maybe is not as shared as much with other people in the department, just because it's the early stages of graduate work. Haven't quite made it that far yet to project finalization. So just to let everybody in on what's going on here, just happy to talk about it. So I will go into who's here. We have, of course, Lindsay, and she's here today, our principal investigator. She is an assistant professor and extension specialist at the ROC since August of 2018. And then we'll go so myself, obviously, the laboratory technician, and I am a soils researcher 3 up here at the ROC since January of 2019, so shortly after Lindsay started that previous fall. I remotely graduated with a land and atmospheric science program degree with a master's in the spring of 2021 while in Crookston. So I'm doing a similar thing today where I'm online with you guys, but because I can't be there, I'm so far away. But so I'm so thankful that I could do that remotely, and it worked out pretty well. So I missed the program, and now I'm more focused on staff research, other than schoolwork, of course. So it makes life have a different pace now. And I work to support graduate students' work up here, which I'll go into next. So our students, here we have Aaron Frankel and Kyle Sherbine. I'm sure some of you know them. They're both graduate students and should be finishing up soon this spring, I believe, which we're happy for. And they've been doing work with us since the summer of 2020, in their master's program in the land and atmospheric science program. So, and that's a nice photo of them at, I think, a fair. So there's our graduate students, and then we also have other students, of course, that help with the workload. We have Peyton Laws. She's been with us since the spring of 2020, and she's been an assistant laboratory technician in our lab. She's also helped a lot with data collection and analysis. She's just been all around very helpful for us for quite a while now, I would say. So she's been a mainstay as well. And a couple more students we've had in this brief time of being here. So Cameron Fleischer, he's been an assistant laboratory technician as well since the summer of 2021. And then we've had Ethan Erdman, a high school student assistant, actually since the summer of 2021 as well. So it's been great having such a good crew, but it's not just us in the soils department up here in Crookston. We've had a bunch of other collaborators. So we all take part in this regular lab group meeting, the Kate's Pease lab group, over Zoom, because some of us are up in Crookston, some of us are in the Twin Cities. So yeah, co-PI Dr. Anna Cates and her lab group, they talk with us, and we've got this whole list of people who are with us. So Hava Blair, Kat Labine, recently joining, some other people, Leah Grimm, Mehmet Ozturk is a new graduate student as well, just coming on board and starting his project. Since I made this presentation, actually, Bailey Tang and Natalie Vogel, some others. So Crookston feels close to the cities after all, even though we're hundreds of miles away from the campus, from the main campus, but we're still all part of the U of M. So our projects, I'll dive into those a little bit. Here we have a picture of the field 5, as we call it. It's our drainage project that Lindsay has. And that's before the tile there is, those black rolls are installed into the field in the fall of 2019. So starting with this one, we have this drainage research project, this drainage plot research that I had mentioned with Dr. Anna Cates from, of course, the Minnesota Office for Soil Health, or MOSH, and her graduate students, Aaron and Kyle. As I said, since the fall of 2019, we do analyses on nitrogen, phosphorus, and carbon in soils, water, and greenhouse gases. So this is, this is the project that takes up most of our time. And it's very interesting and fun, but it's also, it has its challenges. So, and these are the equipment that I have listed that we've had the pleasure of learning how to operate. So, we have this, we used to run a latchet, but now it's the Seal Analyzer AQ400. It can run 60 samples at a time, and is much less manually operated than the latchet. So that's been a huge plus for our lab, and just to keep things rolling. We have a GC 1310 now, that's brand new, and actually we're still waiting on the auto sampler for that to come in this month. So then we can train on that next month. In the meantime, while that's getting set up, we have the Picaro Analyzer G2508 in our lab just across from my office here that we are getting started up again, since we're using it before, from Dr. Randy Kolka's lab in the USDA Forest Service in Grand Rapids. It's been a huge help to have that as an option, and to have that collaboration as well. We're very thankful for that as well. So the Seal Analyzer, I should say, analyzes things like soil extracts and water samples. And then the other two instruments, the second and third one, they are gas chromatographs. So they analyze gas samples. And then more projects. Okay, so long-term nitrogen trial, that's with Dr. Fabian Fernandez in the Twin Cities. It's long-term, so it started this summer of 2019. And the research question, I'll be doing this kind of with each project, is this main question we're trying to ask and find an answer to is, what is the optimal nitrogen rate, application rate in a corn soybean rotation? So here we have just a photo of us chipping some corn stalks for analysis later on. Me there at the right, and then some student help there in the field a couple of years ago. And another project we have that's also fairly recent and new is the biological nitrogen uptake in wheat. It's in collaboration with Dr. Paolo Pagliari with the Southwest Research and Outreach Center since just this past summer. And the research question we have here is, can a species of bacteria aid in the uptake of nitrogen in wheat? And there is a species name for this species. I believe it's from South America. I'll have to double check, but can there be this biological aid in the uptake of nitrogen in wheat, which is a very interesting concept for a research project. Our project's continuing here, rye cover crop planting green trial, also since this past summer. This is in collaboration with Jody DeJong Hughes, Anna Cates, Angie Peltier, and Melissa Carlson. And what we're trying to figure out here with this trial is how does rye as a cover crop do with different termination timings, and whether there's tillage or no tillage. And so here we have Peyton and Cameron on the left in this photo, and I am at the right, happily running this Getting Soil probe. That was a good photo and a good field day. We got so much done that day. I think it was like 70 subplots or something. It was upwards of 100 subplots of, soil sampling, and we got that done in an afternoon. So we've found a lot of efficiency in our soils team. So I believe this is the last project I'll talk about. So the dry bean trial in these drainage plots with Dr. Vinoth Chandar up here at the Northwest ROC, and then also with Jeff Strock at the Southwest ROC. This is looking at crops such as dry beans, wheat, sugar beets, and corn since this past summer. and we want to know what is the optimal drainage spacing for these 4 crops. And then do these different drainage spacings show a difference in the reduction of disease pressure in these plots? So kind of that plant pathology interest as well as the drainage interest of that as well. So combining and collaborating those areas of curiosity. And so I'll just kind of talk broadly here. I want to, land on a good note here. So what makes the Northwest ROC unique? So we are the oldest ROC in the state of Minnesota. So we were the Northwest Experiment Station since 1895. And that was like the Victorian era. We were called Northwest Research and Outreach Center since 1999. We represent Greater Minnesota, as you can see here on this map that is circled. So, we're far away from the other rocks, but we do have a lot of land in a way to speak for, because we have this cold climate implication of agronomic research to address up here. Of course, all Minnesota has some of that, but up here it is more intensely part of our research. And then collaborations with other ROCs and other departments as needed. So, that's also good too, that we maintain these connections with other departments. And then I just wanted to point out that I think the cold makes us stronger. So I'm from Crookston, so I've embraced the cold. You have to do that. So, okay, so built to last with amazing people. We have these departments at the Northwest ROC. I'm part of the Nutrient and Water Management Department. That is also the Soils Department, so we do both. Pest management is one, or entomology, small grains production and management, as well as sugar beet pathology or plant pathology. So we have quite an array of departments for different interests there in research that we can form collaborations with. So, and I just want to say thank you for listening. Here's a photo of some of our staff, or actually a good number of our staff one year. We have about 40 people shown here of faculty and staff one summer. So I think this was for the Crops and Soils Day a couple of years ago. So, and I will end there. I know, I feel like I've seen a lot happen so far at the Northwest ROC since starting in January of 2019. I don't feel like it was so technical today in 15 minutes, but just like a flavor profile of our projects, thus far. And I might be thinking about a PhD maybe after some years have passed, we'll see. But after doing my master's, I feel pretty content right now where I'm at. Just helping and doing what I can for these research projects up here. So here we're showing the drainage installation at Field 5 there, where we do most of our research. That was installed fall of 2019, done by Ellingson. So that was pretty exciting. And there's Lindsay up at the upper left by the Ellingson sign there, and getting that all installed. That was a lot of fun. So with that, I will close out of my presentation and ask any questions that anyone might have. Let's see. Any questions or comments or?
This is Fabian Fernandez. I have a comment only. This is great. I really enjoyed learning more about some of the projects that I wasn't aware of. happening in the Northwest. That's great. Really
Yeah,
appreciate
yeah,
that.
just to know about them. Thank you. Yeah. Mhm. Let's see. Question in the chat. Has there been changes in crops over time as a result of climate? That's a good question. So I do think that there have been some small changes, you know, with crop breeding up here as we've been testing with the crop trials. I don't know all the details about that though. That is a good question. But we are seeing what's hardy for the climate up here as we're doing our trials. Mhm. Other factors? I don't know. Things like drought and precipitation we've been looking at too, and how that might impact crop growth and development. You know, we've had questions, you know, since we've had such a changing climate with precipitation and drought. So that all kind of hinges on climate. I feel like that's been the biggest issue lately that we've been wondering about. So tillage too and cover crops are trying to incorporate to some extent into these new trials. With Dr. Anna Kate, she has a project that's starting up with looking at cover crop reduction of erosion losses. So that's another consideration I've heard a lot about.
Heidi, this is Fabian again, if I may interject.
Yeah, go ahead.
One of the changes that we are seeing there is that it is getting wetter, the Northwest, and the climate is changing and the cropping system is changing as well. I mean, part of the long-term nitrogen study that we have there, looking at nitrogen rates for corn, is because we have very little data from that part of the state, simply because corn is almost a new crop up there, and it's happening because of some of the climate change and of course some of the new hybrids that are short season.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there is Lindsay.
Yeah.
About that
Yes, and I'm here too. I'll pop in and turn my camera on.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sure. Yeah. Well, and one of the exciting things about that strip trial that we're doing is that we've actually got 4 crops in a rotation, and it's not something that everybody does, but I'm kind of excited to see, you know, how if those kind of, you know, how that develops. But we've got corn, soybeans, wheat, and sugar beets. Well, it's not soybeans, it's actually dry beans, but navy beans. But you know, kind of a 4 crop rotation, which is still kind of unusual, but incorporates corn, and I don't know, I think it'll do pretty well. So time will tell.
Time will tell. Research doesn't take a very short time. It takes some time, as we all know. Just watching the climate weirdness lately.